Hi, so let me tell you this love story about this guy who met the love of his life, really. It was love at first sight. But, all that glitters is not gold. So there's this guy, we'll call him OG. So OG met Tony, and it was love at first sight. He saw her, everything about her was just perfect. But the downside, he was still studying abroad, so he had to go back to school. So they promised we'll keep in touch and we'll love each other and everything will be fine. But when he got abroad, he realized that this is not going to work properly. Simply because it's just too far. And she was being a little weird on the phone sometimes. So he said, you know what, this might not work so well. Maybe let's just be friends until I get back when I finish my degree and then we see how it goes. So she's like, you know what, it's fine. Next day she calls him. She's like, you know what? I'm getting married. I've met somebody who wants to marry me. So you know what? This is fine. I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be okay. So he's like, fine. Then they went their separate ways. But sadly, in his life, he lost his mom. So he was left really vulnerable and going through a lot of things. Who calls him? She does. She's like, how are you? How have you been? And he's like, I'm fine. I've just lost my mom. And she's like, how could you not tell me? And everything, yada, 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 goes on. And then she's like, I really want to be there for you. I want to be your friend. Let's talk and everything of that sort. So he's like, okay, let's talk. They start talking, and then he finishes his degree, comes back to the country. We call it country tea. Comes back to country tea and starts talking to Tony, and they're getting on and everything. But then he then realizes that Tony has a problem. Tony has a temper. Whenever things don't go her way, she puts her paws on him. And it's not just small steps, it's like really painful acts that are just unacceptable. He's shocked, eh? Because he'd never really experienced this. He'd never seen a woman who behaves like this. So he's like, wait, what's happening? And then the next day, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do it. I was drunk. I'm sorry. Forgive me. So he gets a bit confused. He's just lost his mom. He's just finished his degree. He's trying to adjust to life. And this woman is saying, I'm here for you. I want to be there for you. But it's also putting her hands on him whenever she gets angry or drunk. And the next day, she just says, I'm sorry. I was drunk. So they go through this. I'm sorry. I'm drunk. No, it's okay. I won't do it again. Then he buys her gifts to make her happy, takes her on safaris and everything. But then his skilled visa comes through for Australia and he has to leave. So he says goodbye, promises to be visiting, and goes to Australia. In a way, he was kind of relieved because I think he was tired of having this woman hurt him, putting her hands on him. So he went to Australia and they continued speaking over the phone. So she had crazy moments of like, oh, you don't love me, you don't love me. And he's like, no, I love you. I've done so much for you. He'd gotten her a car. I was always giving her money and gifts. And whenever she was given money and gifts, things sort of became okay, but she'd get angry again. But it just kept on going on and on and on. So he literally had to fly over every 2 3 months between country T and Australia. And then he told his family, like, my girlfriend has a bad temper. And everybody's like, leave this girl. She's going to kill you. Leave this girl. And he just kept on saying, no, she'll change. She'll change. But sadly, she never changed. And he now also heard stories that she was also a bit crazy with an ex of hers. So he started rethinking everything. Then he's like, I cannot do it anymore. I cannot be with somebody who I have to keep flying every so often to calm down and bring gifts just to pacify her. So he told everybody, I'm leaving her. I cannot do this anymore. Everybody was happy. They're like, finally. He flew back to Country Tea and then he's like, I'm here to visit my family. They're like, okay, but don't see this girl. Little did they know, she somehow found out, convinced him to go see her. Next thing he's like, I love her. I'm getting married. There's nothing you can do. I am an adult. I can make my own decisions. So he proposed. They got married. against his family and friends, wishes that like this is making a mistake. People like this never change. But he thought, let me love her a little bit more. Let me do more. Let me marry her so she's more comfortable. And he thought their lives were now going to be fine. He had convinced himself that maybe she's more secure now. I've married her. We're going to live happily ever after. But that was just wishful thinking on his part.